Hey there, YouTube friends. Masked Bandit here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I always do appreciate it, and welcome back to Conifer Slopes. And today, it's time for another guest builder. But I don't know, is he even a guest anymore? I mean, we hang out a lot, we talk a lot, we share a lot. Jonti's here. Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Masked Bandit just pimps his park out to other people to get it finished.
Shut up.
What have you actually done in the last 2 months? Put some mushrooms down? That's about it, right?
Yeah, that's all I've done. I've just done mushrooms. That's right. You got me. God, you caught me. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I think I did approach you, didn't I? I was like, hey, you want to work some more in Conifer?
I don't know.
So I can get it done?
No, I think I came to you, actually. I can't quite remember, but I think it was on one of the early ones. You'd come back and you were working on the western area, and as part of the video you did a little sort of scoot around the place, and I saw the medieval buildings I'd done with those like Weetabix roofs.
Yeah,
like
the shredded wheat roofs. Yeah,
the shredded wheat huge roofs, and I was like, I need to fix those because a lot of things has changed, right? You know, we both played the game a lot more since then.
Oh yeah, the
budget of Conifer has increased quite a bit since then as well. And also, I won't lie, I was never completely happy with those buildings. My concept behind them was meant to be that they were like plywood. They were just boxes, and they were just there for scenery, and they were very reminiscent of some of the early sort of UK 90s parks that just kind of threw this sort of fairy tale style stuff up. But I think it's almost impossible to do that properly in Planco. They just looked like blueprints from the developers had made, honestly.
Yeah, that's one of the issues I get, is like with the realistic look, making it not look just like you don't know how to play the game.
Yeah, very much so. Like we talked about in Azura the other day, the wooden structures with just some windows on the side, like that's it. But it doesn't look like you've done much, you know. So I was happy with a lot of the stuff, the rides. I was happy with the restaurant and a lot of other stuff. So when you were back in, I was
too. I think the restaurant's still great.
Yeah, and I honestly haven't touched a lot of that, and I'll talk about it a bit when we get over there, but. A lot of it I was still pretty happy with. It was just really those structures. And then by the time I actually got the file back, a lot of that had changed, like physically, right? Like the path and stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I have no idea.
Yeah, you just completely changed how that area went together, and it was fine. Like you hadn't really like threw anything out at what I've done or anything. And you're welcome to do whatever you like. At the end of the day, it's your park. But you'd made some changes.
I did, yeah. Well, I just put an extra path. What happened was that church was in there, and I didn't like that church. And so, why am I getting stuck? And then once I removed the church, and once Chacho's area was in, I was like, we need to... I'm going to stop here and look at I'm going to look over here.
No, it's okay.
While we have a conversation. Well, because
you're perfectly timed right for it, because I got rid of that church, and my plan originally was to rebuild that church as more of like a wooden feudal church, and I had a whole plan to make it a donut shop, and I was going to call it Holy Donuts, and it was going to be a whole thing. But with the change of the layout of the paths that you'd done, and the fact that it was moving through into Chacho's area, it just didn't work. I started building it just didn't work, having a big building there, but it needed something at the end of this path, but it couldn't just be a big block.
Right.
So I managed to squeeze a ride in there, and it's using the 2-tiered carousel with a cover that's based on Phantasialand's 2-tier carousel that has this slight sort of steampunky kind of look to it.
Okay.
So it's a little out of place regarding the rest of the theme, but I always feel like a carousel is very much a lore unto itself regarding its theming anyway. You know, they very rarely theme themselves properly. So it's kind of given given a little weenie to that path there, but it's still, because it's a ride and it's open, like it still sort of opens that area up.
Yeah, I think so.
And there you can come to the right of it still and see the older area, and then to the left of it you've got Chacho's area, and basically all I've done here is this row that links the two of them together.
Okay.
I decided in the end that I didn't actually want to do that much to the medieval area. It's fine, and it looks a little older, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea that all the people in the Conifer Slopes fan forums would be saying that this is the next area that gets pulled out for the new launch. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of like the fact that it looks a little older.
Is going to go or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you know.
Well, I
loved George and the Dragon when I was a kid, but it's a bit old now and it's a bit rickety.
Right, yeah. And that damn show has been the same for the last 20 years. And,
it's a couple of students on their gap year just jumping about like improv idiots. And you get 6 kids watch it.
But like, I also like, and this is more about me than like. I love that I am refusing to change the front of the park back from 2017 or whatever it was, just because look at the growth of me as a builder. You know what I mean? Like, I really like that vibe of like, this is what and look at the growth of the game. This is what was made when the game first came out versus what was. Oh, is this why you asked what this piece was called?
I couldn't find it, and I knew I wanted to use it on this little end video.
All right,
this little end building. So this is pretty much where the new work starts. This fence here to the side of Excalibur is a little backstage area, and then you now have a strip that would probably just be facades with one big eatery inside of them, basically. But these now tie the medieval and the Fey area together.
Okay.
And there's a narrative. This is going to sound so pretentious, but there is a little narrative that runs all the way through these. Okay.
Well, I recognize the name of this, Vulian Jeu.
Yeah.
From our D&D campaign.
That's right. is a little gnome inventor in my D&D world, and you can call him Vuls. So that was just a little nod to him. Yeah, I just need a little end building. It wasn't quite, the tea room wasn't quite enough to take it to the edge. That was actually the last thing that I ended up putting in.
You used the decals. Look at that.
Yes, a couple of them. Some of them, considering we all moaned at how big Planko stuff was, all of the TMTK decals that people have made are huge.
Oh, really?
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. Wow. Especially with this building, it's all windows as walls, and it's all sunken windows, and you can't. I think I should have done it a little bit more extreme. The walls are actually leaning, they're not flat. I was going
to ask. It felt like it down on both levels, or just on the bottom.
I think it might just be the bottom there, but it sort of tears out.
From here, you can tell. No, it's a little wonky. So
this whole strip. Yeah, it's there's another one a bit further that's much wonkier, which you'll see in a moment. But this whole strip is based on the Shambles in York, in the UK.
That's right.
The Shambles is a genuine road. It's sort of built in the sort of 1500s, and it's all still standing. And it's things like tea rooms and chocolate shops. It's very much a tourist destination.
I've been there,
and it is yes, you have, and it's the inspiration behind Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter world as well. So you might see. That's why it's all crooked, and it literally is this crooked. It's kind of insane, really.
Look at this. Real ale, Ye Old Bridge Tavern. So what's the Ye Old Bridge? Do you got a story? Or is it...
So, yeah, it's partly. The Bridge is my local pub back in the UK. It's now closed, but many times I spent far too long in there. But also, it's the Bridge. As in, we are moving from the material plane into the Fey realm. And you will see, and now it's going to be one of these things that anyone who doesn't play D&D won't even notice, and probably people who play D&D won't even notice, but there's loads of little, just as we get further and further to the Fey, everything becomes just a little bit more twisted.
Yes, look at it.
You'll see there on the left of the sign, on the left of the bridge, there's got all the little words underneath. On the right of it, excuse me, sorry. It's pub grub. So it's pub grub, but the one that's a little closer to the Fey is pub grubs, and it's just there's little things like that. You'll see it says real ales, pub grubs, and there's just little things like that. You'll see the sign here says real ale, the hanging out sign says real ale, and then on the other side. Unreal Ale. And there's just lots of little ones of those as we move over.
Oh, that's great, because I said it in another episode. The Feywild, which is what is all over there, is a mirror of the world. And so there's just little things that are ever so different. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I love it.
And you have these sort of Fey gates that move you from the material world into the Fey world, and oftentimes they can be very obvious. It might be like a circle of mushrooms or something that you stand in, but sometimes they might be almost like locked and a bit tricky to get through, and you have to make a certain thing happen, or you do certain things in a certain order, and that's kind of what I've tried to go for here. So you'll see now the buildings get a little bit more sort of kooky
just
and
a
stuff.
little bit.
So,
Huh?
yeah. So like I say, this one's quite crazy. But if you go and if you have a look at the source material of the street in York, they're really this bad. Like, it's kind of crazy they're still stood up.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so Lecker Mall is the original name for the witch in Hansel and Gretel.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I had no idea.
So no, I had to Google it, but I was like, there must be a cool witch name.
That's awesome.
And then all the signs along the bottom.
Oh my gosh!
And it's a candy store. Yeah, it's just chocolate.
That's great.
And then all the signs along the bottom are just sort of like you'd read them twice, you know.
Yep. Free will with every purchase, like. That's good. Yeah, I love it though.
It's just that sort of trickiness. Yeah, yes. So that was the idea there.
The little card here,
and then the last one is the gateway, and again, it's just sort of like it sounds like the name of a British pub, but also it is the gateway.
It sure does. Oh, look at this! Cross the tracks, don't look back. Oh, I love that.
And I thought you could have it so that the crossing of the railway tracks is symbolic, like physically and symbolically, the crossing into think that's great. Into the area,
that's so good. And I know there's a ride behind me, but this is really well done. I love what you were saying about how, like, you know, this is clearly a different vibe from your original take.
Yes, but it's still British. Like, it's literally taken from like possibly some of the oldest buildings still standing in the UK. You're on a shade.
I'm off. I got it.
So still British, but a little bit more modern. But then also, I often feel like North America, they kind of get a little bit muddled up with British history and like the fact that these buildings are probably 300 years later than the medieval area.
Doesn't matter to us.
Your country's not even 300 years old, right? Like, it's a hell of a big span of time for you guys. So I feel like it's okay that this is more sort of Tudor, especially that final building there is sort of very Tudor as opposed to the medieval original. So it sort of flows and it moves through and kind of makes sense, but it's that's the idea.
I'm gonna tell you what. The original Conifer slopes from RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 back in 2007, when the first thing I ever posted on the forums was that park, and then I left it to make another park, and when I came back with more experience, I built a double-decker carousel, and then every project in RollerCoaster Tycoon 3 that I did had a double-decker carousel, but it just was too small for the front of the park. So for me, it is a perfect nod to the original.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. I did double check. I looked all around and I went through the ride list to make sure there wasn't one hiding somewhere. And obviously the Grand Carousel is the carousel you have on the way in, So I just thought it fit here and, just gives another option. There's chairs outside so the kids can get thrown on it and the parents can have a sit. And
exactly.
I wish we could turn these gates off.
I know, but I do like how it does look like it is just sit there. And then I did give you the okay to go ahead and do something with this.
To be honest with you, I didn't do much with it. I just kind of wanted to sort of ground it into the area, really. And I purposely haven't named it or anything because I know you like to have your viewers name stuff. So but really, what I wanted to do, I wanted to have this pavement and roads in. So you'll see on the shop side, it's all the way down the stores. It only works if it's on the other side as well. So I was like, I'm going to put this in and hope that's okay. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, you can still go back and tweak this and hire it up. But it kind of felt like, we've got a space. What can we squeeze in here? Yeah. So it's because of that, the theming is relatively light. And I just kind of carried that slight, I wouldn't even call it steampunk. It's more Victorian, really, theming from the carousel down into here.
Oh, that's really nice though. I don't mind how simple it is at all. And like you said, you get the little bit back there. Yeah, I'm very pleased. So yeah, we're gonna need an idea for this ride name. Think, of course, about the whole idea of the Shambles and being like a town that sits in between, that sits on the border of the Fae and the material plane. Oh, so what would a little ride like this be named? I'll take your suggestions, of course, in the comments. And
there's a space just to the left of the entrance where a sign will go nicely.
Right,
I think
right there. Boom.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. I love it, and I do like I was like, what does it look like coming out from this end now? And I like that a lot. It does it. This whole little area over here now with the coaster in the background. I like that a lot. I think it's really well done. I think you've done a very, very, very nice job. And thank
awesome.
you.
I'm glad you like it. I purposely kept it relatively low, like that last one being the tallest one, so it could have led up into the coaster. Yeah. But yeah, I did want to kind of keep a lot of those sight lines open to the tree lines and stuff.
And then you just look at this. And it's just, what are we doing?
That's awesome.
So insane.
I had a good wander around it all.
It's so insane. It is just over the top and beyond. Like, thank you for keeping it realistic, even though I
can't not really. I don't know. Like, it's just so built into me to try and keep it like, and it's relatively fanciful, especially that third building.
Yeah, but like it looks like again. It's realistic and that's totally a theme park building for sure. Yeah, for sure. Higher budget theme park building, but theme park building nonetheless. Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And
you're welcome.
Where can people find you? As if they don't know who you are.
I'm Geekism everywhere where it matters. I'm gonna go and work on Azuri now.
Oh yeah.
Have that back.
Yeah, and your little 30 by 30 park.
Yeah, I hit a bit of a brick wall with that one today, so I'm going to work on Azuri now.
Well, hey, you got nothing but room in Azuri, so.
Right.
All right, Jonti, well, I'm going to get on with the rest of the episode here, see what I can do now, and hopefully do the rest of the episode justice. You've gotten us off to a wonderful start. Thank you so much. I
look forward to seeing what's next. Thanks.
Yeah. So once again, another huge shout and huge thanks to Jonti for helping out with this little area of the park. Really appreciate it, and he did an awesome job. And I do want to share that I have made one small tweak to what he did. I don't even know if you can tell. You might be able to, but you can see that I've gone ahead and I've actually pushed his area back ever so slightly to kind of open this area up, since this is the only way into the Mourning Woods because of my not so great planning. I had to kind of make sure that this was big enough that it could handle a large, a bunch of people walking through it. You also notice we're already in Tegid Cam for this part. We were in the first part too, but we're in Tegid Cam because I'm kind of at that point where it's a lot of little things right now. And so we're just going to start here. All the work I've done in this episode is in the Mourning Woods section of the park, and I want to show it to you. But honestly, this park takes 10-15 minutes to load, and the way I do these updates is I will load up a park file, show you what's new, and then load a new park file, show you what's new. And it was at the point where I was only able to use about a third of everything I had been recording because everything else was loading times. So in order to navigate that and try and tighten it up a little bit, as well as not make these videos take hours and hours to actually get to you, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to show you everything I worked on for the rest of this episode. I mean, that first half of the episode there with Jonti was so good. What more do you need? But there is more. Let me show you. So first thing you'll notice, we have a train track now. I love these signs. They are fantastic. I just thought it's such a nice little, it is such a beautiful little thing to put in there. And actually they're kind of crooked. So if I were to do this, could I twist them to make them a little less crooked? Yeah, that might look a little better. Let's see, does that look better? Yeah, I think that looks a little better now. It's in line. And this area is a much larger crossing. Oh, this should be over here. That should be over here. So we're still doing some things. You can see we're still making sure this stuff works. More or less this should be here. It's not really functional, but you get the idea here. This is a pretty large area, and I wanted to make sure that we would make sure that no guests could cross if the train was coming across. Especially because the station's like right there. So anyway, yeah, that's what we got here with this first little part. Really simple, nothing to it. And I'm gonna get rid of that. There we go. So let's enter the Mourning Woods area. We're not in Tegid Cam because I'm gonna be moving around. But what a beautiful day in the Mourning Woods. And the first thing I want to show everybody is I have worked on the train station. So here we are. Here's the Conifer Slopes Railway. Whoa, with the coaster going by. This is now the last station done. It's not as fancy as the depot, but I do like it. I like our entranceway here. It's a little rustic, a little overgrown, a little bit of a portal, which makes sense to me. You're going to be leaving the Fae. You're going to be leaving the Feywild when you enter here. I love the in-game butterfly, and I actually tweaked the colors ever so slightly to be a little bit closer to the Conifer Slopes colors, which is teal and purple and orange, and you'll notice the sign is the same. Love me my glowing mushrooms and flowers in this area. Can't have enough of them. And then we enter here. These ruined pieces are the ones that Nerd Chacho used all throughout the area, so I went with that motif and kind of did a dilapidated church structure thing, kind of vibe, crypt maybe almost, not quite sure. Spooky, but yeah, we enter here, and this is the holding area, the waiting area, where it's mostly dry, mostly warm, mostly covered, in case it is raining. And then just a little simple up area here, where I wanted to do a lot of work to try and block a lot of this view. I did not want you to just completely lose your immersion once you were up here getting on the train, but you can see that our train station itself, I use these crypt walls. I kind of dig them. Use the crypt walls and some spooky beams and spooky pieces. Jonti's little Archer Park is so great. He just came out with the spooky episode, and it reminded me how good the spooky pieces are, so I decided to use a few of them. And then they've also got the adventure. This is adventure scaffolding. I didn't realize how good some of those DLCs were. I really wish we could get rid of this over here, this loading zone. It's a little silly since it's both on the right side, but hey, whatever. So now we got this all shored up and looking pretty and looking cute, and then you just exit from this area. And I've tidied this up a little bit now. This is actually looking a bit more like an actual theme park and not just fantasy overload, which is great. Our backstage is still here. I have shored this up on both sides now. I did give us an entrance on this side as well. You can see here now that this is all dolled up. And what I tried to do is make sure that the train leaving the Feywild here looked nice. I'm considering putting the TMTK pebbles down as ballast. I think that's what it's called. They're little rocks. I'm not quite sure if we'll do that. I haven't decided yet. What do you think? You think we should do that? And then I went and I just shored up the rail here with a really long quasi-bridge retaining wall thing, very similar to what we did in the western area. And you can also see that I started to doll up the area here. I wanted to see how this all played. What did it actually look like? Did it look okay? How much could I fit? I don't mind that at all. I think this looks pretty good. And I actually don't mind that you can kind of get views, but it still feels like you're contained here in this Feywild area. So yeah, this is coming along. It really is coming along here. I did also continue with the path covers here from Nerd Chacho, and you should notice, if I did my job, you should notice significantly less Z fighting in some of the more intense areas of Z fighting. I did try, you'll see here, I tried to get rid of a bunch of it. I wasn't able to get rid of all of it. I might go in and do some more when I'm looking for bits and bobs to do, you know, when I'm not actively theming things. We still have to do the gift shop in here. I do want to decorate this. This will be something for a next episode probably, or the episode after that. So we have to work on that. But yeah, just adding lighting and benches and rearranging things here and there. And the other really big thing in this episode is the Fungus Amongus. And the Fungus Amongus was brought to us by Michael Greenslade, 7260, in the comments of our last video. I really loved it. It's a little silly. It's a little too punny, but I really think it's fun. And I think you're going to really like the way it looks at night, which we'll look at in just a little bit. So yeah, I've really covered that in with as much foliage as possible. I kept it low here because these blue glowing mushrooms are just amazing, and I wanted to make sure that you could see them. I went with a really garish color scheme here to go with the rest of this. Again, the Feywild is supposed to be the natural world dialed up to 11 in both color and darkness, color and shadow. So we're really playing with colors. Mineral Junction, his Stevetown, his colors are so good in that series. It's really made me take a look at my color choices and realize how tame they've been, and that's something I really do want to fix. And then that gave me this opportunity here. We still need to put the signage up and some ropes, but this is now going to lead to our main backstage area. Never mind that tree there. And now you can see the park is cut off here. We've got our fence here. We still need to clean up a little bit over here, cover up that ride pad a little bit. But yeah, you can see now that the park has pretty much, this is it. This is the end. This is the corner of the park. And we're not going to add anything else in the park area rise-wise. I know we aren't, because I don't think there's any more room, or I don't have any more. I just don't think I can, to be fair. So yeah. And then the last thing before we look at night that's new since our last time together is I'm really starting to work now on the water ride. And we're going to have a little bit of a dark ride portion that's just going to be past these awesome mushrooms by Swiss. I've also, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it on the video, I've thrown in some sound effects, and we're going to put some music in and really make it feel special so that we can have this cave where the Kelpies are waiting for you. There's no good audio of singing. I was going to try to do that, and I really don't want to have any. I want to have as little downloadable audio as possible for this project. We've already got some for Conifer Downs, and we already have some for the dark ride. I didn't really want to add much more. So just this area right here, I think, is going to be our dark ride area. You'll see, I just staged these to see what they would look like from the boats. They look pretty good. But I think we're going to do a spooky neon cave scene here with a wall here, and you're going to exit. And then this will not be themed on the inside of the coaster here. We're not going to theme this. We'll just planter it real good. We'll just foliage it up, and then you'll re-enter this area here, and this little bend will be the dark ride portion as well, and then you will exit, and that will be that as you go up the ramp. So that's what we're going to be looking at in the next episode, is getting that area done and then doing the interior of the gift shop. And what I think I might do, I know I said it before, I'm getting closer to it now that I'm starting to settle into a pretty decent routine with my schedule. Would love to do a live stream where I chat with you all live and in person, and do some curbing, and do some fencing, and do some custom bumpering. But I mean, this is looking pretty good. I really like this. I was looking at a picture of Splash Mountain just to kind of judge what was going on. I think this is like the level of budget that I like. Like, it's very clear a concrete trough with poured concrete, but we've got some really cool stuff here. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to cover that up more or foliage it more. But I'm going to make it feel more like we're entering some sort of cave. So, but yeah, that's what I've been working on since we've been together, or the last episode. And now I want to show you the work I've been doing at night. Specifically, it started with Fungus Amongus. Let me switch to night here. There we go. And I really wanted to crank up the vibes at nighttime. Like, something I've been mentioning that a whole bunch since we started working on this area. But the color shift with the blues and the pinks, I think that's just awesome. The ride feels completely different now, which I think is spectacular. And look at how awesome those mushrooms glow. Just beautiful. I'm very, very happy with this area now. Might put a couple more lights, but I do like that the ground glows as you walk. Like, this almost feels kind of Pandora-esque from Animal Kingdom, which is really cool. So shout out to, I'll put on the screen who created those mushrooms. I can't remember off the top of my head, and they're not actively pulled up on my list. Oh yeah, lots of archers to make sure that you could walk through here without getting poked. So did a bit of lighting here on Red's caps to make it look red, but still the warm lighting near the shop to lure you in. A little bit of lighting. I did some like dark light, almost like deep purple lighting here, again with some warmer tones on this side. Still thinking of a name. A couple of you have given suggestions. Keep coming with those. I'll see what strikes my fancy. And then I lit up the trees ever so slightly here, and just a couple easy little lighting here. That's about all I did in this area. I made sure that our planters were all making sense here in the heavy forested area. And then if I come forward here, you'll see what the railway looks like at night. The pink and the blue. I love it. With the warm interior here. These dragon torches felt like a perfect thing to put in here. So yeah, that's what I have been up to. And I think it's coming along. Oh, there's one more thing to show you. So here it is officially. Conifer Slopes now has a perimeter road. Some parts are going to need to be redone, and I'm not quite sure how it works here with the... We might have to have the road... The road, theoretically, to enter the park would go this way, and this would be your entrance, and this would be a staff gate or something. Or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but we have a perimeter road now. And I think the minute I did this, I did like oh, there it is. That's Conifer slopes. I mean, we got to put more foliage in. I think we might put the train. I don't know if this area is big enough. Oh, I don't want to touch near Chacho's area. Maybe back here we can put the train depot and then hook it up to the train right here. Maybe that would work. That's something to think about. I don't know if we'll do that. We'll see. I want to do some backstage stuff like Chacho is done. I want to put in, like over here would be a great place to put some office, some buildings, some warehouses, and obviously way over here, this would be an awesome space for backstage items. I might just rip a bunch of stuff from No Name Landia and huck it in here. No shame. Just to add that itty bitty bit, but I don't think we're going to go at all beyond here. I don't think I'll even tree it up because this park is already so, he said with lots of trees here, this park is already so resource heavy that I'm kind of, I don't want to push it much more than it already is. But yeah, this is Conifer Slopes, y'all. It's never gotten this far. I mean, that's a long time, since 2007. 17 years in the making to have a finished park of Conifer Slopes. Hopefully we can get it finished before Planet Coaster 2 comes out. Which, by the way, as the dropping of this video, about to get some more info on that at Gamescom, this week. Hopefully, if I did my job, the next big dive on Planet Coaster 2 will be happening tomorrow. So after you've watched this, get excited for Planet Coaster 2. I know I am. So yeah, I think that's just about gonna do it. Let's go into Jonti's revamped area and let's get a good look at what he did for us here. Yeah, I like that. Let's get this. That's a great view to end our day. So hope you've enjoyed. If you did, you know what to do. Make sure you hit that like button. Put down your thoughts below. What should we add for backstage? Give me some ride name suggestions. All that good stuff for engagements purposes. You know the drill. And with all that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever. And I will see all of you for the next episode of Conifer Slopes. Take care, everyone, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.